hello, folks. Welcome to another edition of the show that looks to give you that feeling that you can only get when you get off the bus and it's the last day of school, heading into summertime, getting that first ice cream cone, that sense of pure joy that only we here can deliver on Dad's Turn to Talk. That's right, folks. Welcome to another edition. I'm the moderator for this episode. My name is Derek. With me, as always, my co-hosts, nay, my peers, nay, my colleagues, nay, the definition of friendship. Let's start off with a man who is becoming a connoisseur in these zero sugar flavors of Mountain Dew. The one and only Bob. Bob, how are you this evening?
I'm doing okay. It was kind of an interesting last few days. Apparently, I ticked off all of the Jennifer Lopez fans out there with my review of Atlas, which I thought was absolute garbage, and I will say it again. But apparently the audience was split a lot of ways, and they ripped me a new one. Well, some people did. In fact, I had one person call me a weirdo.
I knew you were a weirdo.
Finally, after everything that was going on in the comments section, I was beginning to sound like Frank Drebin.
Please, Pittsburgh, nothing to see here, please.
Such a good movie.
So yeah, it got pretty heated over in my comment section, but the video actually did pretty well for me. Over 1,600 views and picked up 11 subscribers from it, so can't complain.
If you watch Selena again and give it a raving review, you'll get them all back. Don't worry.
Yeah, that was a good performance from her. This one just I just didn't like it, and the thing is like I said, the comment section was pretty split, but my like to dislike ratio was overwhelmingly for likes on the video. So yeah, I can't really complain.
Well, we're here to brighten up the mood, folks. So go easy on Bob. He means stay low, no harm. We promise.
I knew you were a weirdo.
Well, we knew you were a weirdo, but we were okay with it. We're not sure about those other people.
Exactly.
Let's introduce you to the other host this evening. He's a guy who makes you feel like you need to sneeze and fart at the same time. The one and only Josh. Josh, hello, Josh.
Hey, Derico, how are you? I got to tell you, you mentioned the zero sugar Mountain Dew. I have one zero sugar Sunkist left, and I go to take it the other day, and my lovely wife goes, "You really have to stop drinking that." And I said, "Why?" Because of the orange dye. And I said, "But it's zero sugar." She goes, "No." And I said, "So now I can't have any of the zero sugar?" She's like, "No, you can have like the Sprite, 7-Up, that kind of stuff." So yeah, now I don't get my Sunkist zero sugar.
Here, you want some?
Yeah, no, I have some zero sugar Sprite over there. But
Don't worry about it, Josh. My significant other always tells me that I got to quit drinking all the sodas. So
oh my God. And I don't even drink it all the time, but something about that orange flavor. Now I want to try the Mountain Dew. The Mountain Dew looks epic. Tell us about it real quick, Bob. Was it good?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Good.
Yes, it was. So yeah, I've had it multiple times. I actually like a lot of the zero flavors that they have for Mountain Dew. In fact, I had one the other day. I can't remember what the name of the flavor was, but it was a purple one that was pretty good.
That sounds good.
Did you guys
All
ever
right,
have
let's
the
do a taste
pitch
test.
black one? Did you guys ever taste that one?
Which
I
one?
think so.
Yeah, the pitch black.
No.
Yeah. I had that one.
I actually heard it was quite good. I never had got my hands on one, but
Sounds like licorice or something, like it would be not good.
licorice soda? No, thank you.
Ugh,
I'm not
no.
down at all.
No.
Are you a
Maybe
licorice fan,
Twizzlers.
Bob?
Nah.
Twizzlers, I like. You like red licorice, right? Though, like Twizzlers.
Oh yeah, we're talking about what the devil makes. That black stuff? No.
Oh my God, what the devil makes? Oh God, you said something
Candy.
funny the other day, Derek, on the podcast, and now I can't remember what it was. I was laughing so hard. What it was?
I'll get it back. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Now, this is a great conversation talking about what we like. And that's really important. But you know what's even more important? What you like, folks. And hopefully you like us. Feel free to click that button with the thumbs up there. And you know what would be even better? That big one that says subscribe. It's like right near it. Hit that one too. And then comment away. Let us know what you feel about what we're talking about here today or in previous episodes. We're always interested. So
Absolutely.
don't be afraid to come on board. We'd love to have you. And guys, I hope you had a very safe and happy Memorial Day weekend, because I'll tell you who didn't, and that is the movie box office, which is our first topic this evening. Oh, wow. This is not awesome news, to say the least. Bob, if you could, and I'm going to ask a favor here, if we could pull up the article. I'm going to sum it up here. But
yeah, let me see if I can get it.
And maybe we could tag it in our episode just to have people take a look at it in case they're curious too. Well, the weekend for folks was not awesome, and that's an understatement. So 2 big movies came out this weekend. I believe both were from Warner Brothers. Did I have that right? Or was it somewhere else? Can't remember. If it's not there, it's not important. But in essence, there were 2 big movies that were supposed to bring in big dollars. One was Furiosa, which you see there in the article on Variety, and the other is Garfield. Now, for the weekend itself, Furiosa drew $26.2 million, and Garfield came in pretty close with $24 million. So that was not a bad way to get the silver medal. For all 4 days, outside of the weekend, being Friday and Monday, 32 million total is what Furiosa took home, and 31.1 million is what Garfield took home over the 4 days. To put things in perspective, folks, Memorial Day last year, The Little Mermaid was out. We probably could all relate to that being one that very many of us were excited for. That took home over the weekend 118 million.
Wow.
So based off the numbers that we're telling you here, that is a big, big, big drop. Overall this year, it sounds like the box office take homes are around 22% less this year than last. And before COVID hit in 2019, they are down 41% since then. So that is obviously not great news for the movie theater business. We'll go ahead and start and get some initial thoughts. Bob, why don't you kick us off here? You're the one that probably goes to the theater more than any of us. So initial thoughts. What are you thinking here?
Well, first off, that's pretty sad. Now, the thing about Furiosa, I'll admit I didn't go see it. I couldn't get to the theater this weekend. So I really kind of wanted to see it, as well as get out to see Garfield. And I just couldn't do it. That's how I ended up doing Atlas instead. But anyway, what makes this sad, I think, is that when you look over, say, on Rotten Tomatoes, Furiosa actually was pretty well received amongst critics. The audience actually seems to like it. I don't see a whole lot of people trashing Furiosa, saying it wasn't a good film. I mean, I see some people saying it might have been a mid film, but most people seem to think it was a decent film to a pretty good one. But it just did not get it done. And that's, I don't want to say it's surprising, because its predecessor, Mad Max Fury Road, wasn't exactly a box office juggernaut, but it did get nominated for a lot of awards. I think I forget which year exactly it released, but I know it was like 8-9 years ago, something like that. But it was nominated for the most Academy Awards that year. So you would think that with the follow-up, it would do a little bit better, but it just didn't happen. So I think that's pretty sad. And I think there's a lot of reasons why we're seeing the drop in the box office numbers. And I'd like to kind of open it up here to kind of get what everybody's ideas are here. Cause I mean, I've got my own, what do you think, Josh?
Well, first of all, I saw Garfield, by the way. I took Charlie to see it. We loved it. We went very early on Monday morning, actually, 10 a.m. And the theater was, probably half full, but actually more than I thought. We had looked up tickets for, I think there was like an 11:50 showing, and that was booked. Like there were very few seats left there, and then one at like 2 something.
Real quick before you continue, Josh, just one thing I want to point out
Yeah.
that I've noticed is that in LA, that's a whole different market, though.
Right.
That tends to sell out a lot. So,
True.
because over here, I've noticed when I've gone to a lot of the movies lately, we're talking Fall Guy, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, some of these other films for the summer, and even leading up to this, they're just not what they would normally be, normally booked out. Everybody excited going in. It's a different feeling.
Right. I agree. I feel, excuse me, that the one thing that we were missing this year, not necessarily on Memorial Day, but in the month of May, the beginning of month, like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, we had no Marvel movie come out. And, last year we had Guardians 3 come out. I forget, what did we have 2 years ago? Did we have Doctor Strange?
I think so. I think it was Doctor
Madness?
Strange. Yeah.
But anyway, there's always in the last 15 years been some sort of Marvel movie. And this year we did not have that. And so, we had Planet of the Apes, which I did not go see because I really haven't seen. I've seen a couple. I saw one with Bobby years ago. But it's been very I don't know. This year, I don't know if they should have had Deadpool and Wolverine come out for Memorial Day. Maybe that would have, definitely gotten more people in the box office, in the theater. But yeah, the movies that were released this year were really not big movies, in my opinion.
Okay, here's what I got to ask, Josh, because you mentioned that there was no Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Do you think that would have made a difference to have the Marvel movie?
Or is it just like a big movie, like a big blockbuster? Is that more maybe what it needed to be?
Because based on what you're saying, that there was a Marvel movie, Guardians. I mean, we all liked Guardians.
Yeah.
Right.
We could all agree it was a good movie, and it didn't. It didn't hit the $1 billion mark, but it was like $850 million, something like that. It did well.
Right.
But last year there was just flop after flop after flop, and we're talking, big movies. We're talking Indiana Jones, The Flash, even Mission Impossible, which I thought was a really good movie.
That was surprising.
That turned around and flopped, and you would have expected that to have a bump after Top Gun. That Tom Cruise to kind of have a bump there, but it was just flop after flop last year. Except for Barbie and Oppenheimer.
That was it.
Even Little Mermaid, which made money as far as that Memorial Day weekend, grossly underperformed from what they expected. You had some people early on saying it was going to make $1 billion.
How much did it make?
Oh, I think it was like 500 and something. So, it grossly underperformed, especially when you look at its predecessors from its other live action films.
Right.
Which one was the one that came out before? Was it Aladdin or was it the Lion King?
Lion King
live action.
Lion King was
Lion King.
That.
Yeah. Okay. So, but the Lion King made what was it? 1.5, $1.6 billion, something like that.
Yeah.
Did it really?
Made a lot of money.
Yeah, it did. It made a heck of a lot of money. Even Aladdin made over $1 billion.
It sure did.
Yeah.
Which it didn't deserve because Will Smith is not the genie.
I know. I totally agree. That's still that still gets me. Even Charlie will watch the new one and likes the new one, and I'm like, no, I can't watch it. I want the original.
See, the point what I'm getting at is I don't know if really a Marvel movie would have necessarily helped. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been a big movie. Like you could have put Deadpool and Wolverine, but then would that have fixed the box office results for all the other films?
No, probably.
Maybe because then they would be sitting in that movie and seeing the trailers for some of these big movies coming out for Memorial Day. See?
Nah, I still don't think it would have made it. I don't.
Okay, could it have started off with a big bang, like a big, big feature? That maybe could have happened. Maybe that's what they were trying to do with the Planet of the Apes stuff. But those movies have never really been as big as a Marvel movie or even a DC movie for that matter.
Yeah, they're not exactly juggernauts. And here's the thing, like you look at the films that have come out this year. So Fall Guy, Flop, that's already out on digital. Granted, it's not like on streaming like Netflix or something like that, but you can go and purchase it on digital already.
Yeah.
And Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I really liked that movie, and it seems to be well received amongst the critics and the audience, and Fall Guy was too. And yet it's underperforming. And then what else came out? See, I mean, I even have to think about it.
I mean, they had nothing. Let me ask you this.
If, like, as much as I liked If, that
was great.
But it's not exactly tearing it up at the box office either.
And therein lies the problem. It doesn't sound like anything is.
Do you think it's inflation right now?
There's a bunch of different reasons for this. So
I think there is too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Let's figure this out. Because I always go to my number one. I always go to the writing. Is the writing, not good? People are.
I think that is part of it. I think they're making a lot of not awesome movies right now.
You see, I do think that that's playing a part of it. Is that there have been so many bad movies that it feels like it's a risk to go actually to go to the theater and see a movie, because, and I think this kind of goes back to what you were saying also, Josh, with inflation. Ticket prices are so much higher to turn around and want to spend the money on something like that.
Yep.
You want to spend it on something that you know is going to be good. And it just feels like it's too much of a risk with a lot of these movies.
And let's face it, you're not only paying for the ticket, you're paying for the parking, perhaps, the snacks,
popcorn,
the drinks, all that. So the more you factor into it, that's just, I mean, if you put it all into one price tag just for one person, that's a lot of money. So you better hope you get your money's worth.
All right.
I mean, out of the three of us, we all know darn well Bobby really does a good job getting out to the movies.
Yeah.
Bob, you didn't see any of them this weekend.
No, I didn't. And actually, for this weekend, it was actually life things that were going on to where I just wasn't able to get out there. So
what if Deadpool versus Wolverine came out last weekend, though?
Last weekend I would have done it, but for Deadpool Wolverine this weekend. Well, even for this past weekend, I wouldn't have been able to get out there. I just had some stuff going on. I just couldn't.
I think you would have. I think you would have found a way.
I might have gone to like a midnight movie for it, but that would have been the only way I could have done it.
I mean, Memorial Day weekend needs to be a huge movie to get everyone out there.
There's more to that.
But here's the thing. So let's look at Furiosa, for example. Okay, right. I mean, because this is what they released on Memorial Day. So this is a sequel to Fury Road, which again was not a huge hit. It did okay, but it was critically acclaimed, but not a huge box office hit. Yeah. It's a continuation of the Mad Max movies, but Furiosa is the main character in Fury Road, not Mad Max. He's almost regulated to a secondary character. And now you turn around and you have a Mad Max movie without Mad Max in it. I mean, does that play into some of it as well? To where some of the audience who grew up watching the Mad Max films, it's like, I don't really know if I want to go see this. And then that kind of, you mentioned writing, Josh. I mean, one of the things that we've constantly talked about is some of the tropes that they write into Hollywood. And one of the ones that they do is they do the strong female lead, but it's written in a way that it's just, it's not a believable character. It's not like the strong female characters that we grew up watching that to this day are still some of our favorite characters, like Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley, and, characters like that. Instead, these are characters that have no flaws or anything like that. And so now, from what I hear, Furiosa is not presented that way in this film, but could it be that people got tired of that and just like, here's another one. I don't need to go see that. It doesn't even have Mad Max in it.
So there's a couple of points to that, Bob, and it's almost like it's a two-headed snake.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of people out there who will think, another, it's like a tent pole movie, right? Where it's, it's just another one of these. It's probably going to be the same thing. We know how it goes. I don't need to worry about it. But you could flip the script there also and say, like Josh is talking about, well, it's not a Marvel movie. I want to go see Deadpool and Wolverine. So, unless it's a Marvel movie, I don't need to go see that. So
Sure.
it goes both ways, where it's either there's too many tentpole or there's a franchise mentality to things, and it polarizes people. I think both directions, which doesn't help things
And I think marketing plays a lot into this as well, because
for sure.
look at what they did with Barbie and Oppenheimer last year. And this is something we've talked about before. They made that an event.
Yeah.
It was like, you have to go see Barbenheimer. And you had, people just flocking to go see both films. And it was immensely popular. They tapped into audiences that hadn't been tapped into. And it was just, they turned it into an event. And this kind of, again, goes to ticket prices and all of that stuff. It's like, well, it's so expensive. So if there's one thing I'm going to go see Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the other thing too, is that there is a loss of an event mentality. People don't view it as that anymore.
No, but you know what, Garfield, Derek, all over here in LA, and I'm sure in San Fran, it's being marketed everywhere. Like there's like a giant Garfield, almost like float on a busway on Ventura
Out here
Boulevard.
it's not.
Yeah, over here it's not.
all
I haven't
over
seen
the
anything for it.
All
I mean, I'm
over.
glad to hear that. I mean, that's good for LA, but around here, I've seen one sign.
That's
And
why I
even
say
on
LA
TV.
is a whole different mentality, and or it's a whole different market
Yeah,
than
Bob,
what it is the
Boston
rest of the
doesn't-
country.
you don't get that stuff. You don't get any of that stuff in certain areas. But,
Yeah, we just don't get it over here.
I
And by
just
the way, it's been on one
Yeah.
sign, and that sign switches to other like ads too.
oh really? No, we don't
Yes.
get. Yeah, I got a big one right by my house that
Yeah.
says Garfield. Now, do I think I would have seen it if I didn't have a kid? Probably not.
No.
I don't know. I don't think I would have gone to see it. I don't know, but I remember years ago though, like Lisa and I, we didn't go to it, but we rented Inside Out.
Yeah.
We wanted
So
to see it.
let me ask you this way, Josh, because and you too, Derek.
Mhm.
So obviously, you both have younger kids and whatnot. If you didn't have the younger kids around, could you see yourselves casually going to see all of these movies?
All of them, no, but
No.
some, yes, for sure.
I think we would have seen more.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the whole finding a babysitter, and there's definitely been movies I haven't seen that I'm like, honestly, Ghostbusters, the last Ghostbusters, which didn't get good reviews, probably would have seen it. But then as time went by, Bob, you saw it and was like, it was okay. Then I'm like,
okay. I mean,
then we don't have to spend the money.
it's probably my least favorite of the main franchise.
I mean, here's the thing. We've all been, we love the movie theater experience and we love movies. So, of course, we'd be willing to see, I would think a fair amount of these if we were single, and could get ourselves out there.
Right.
But, that's us. And I don't know if people are that motivated like we are with the idea of movies and movie theater experiences.
And that's the thing, because what you're noticing is people aren't casually going to the movies like they used to. Back in the day, you would just drive up to the theater. You know what? Let's just go see what's playing. And you just drive over there, and it'd be like, oh, okay, we got this, and this. What do you want to see? Okay, well, we'll go see this one. And people would just go and see the movies. Now, they just don't casually see movies the way that they used to.
You know what it is? I just figured it out, gentlemen. There's two things that happen: streaming services and COVID.
So, okay, can I talk about both of those things?
Yeah.
Okay. I think COVID did a lot with people making certain realizations about the movie theater experience versus the home experience.
Right.
The realizations come with the movie theater experience with everything we're just talking about. Why should I ever have had to pay that much to see that? Why do I have to pay this much for everything else? I think that people got sick of all the commercials at the beginning of a movie.
Yes. Excellent point.
Yeah. I don't think they like that. I think they're over product placement. I think people get pretty tired of that pretty quickly, even though that is marketing. You have to do that to a certain degree. And I also think back to the lackluster quality of movies, there's that. And then the tentpole franchise mentality that we talked about. I think if you compile all that stuff together, it gives people a very cynical view. Plus, and I hate to say this, but it's kind of the truth, even before when things were bumping and shaking with the movie theater experience, a lot of times you would find at least one jerk in the theater that you just wanted to strangle.
Yes.
And we all know who that person is. We've all dealt with them for whatever the reason.
Right.
So I think when you combine all that together, people are like, I don't want to put up with all that. And I think that gave them a bad view, and they found out it's much easier to sit at home when, let's say, A, you have the internet, B, you can stream, C, you actually have television that has become very cinematic if it's well written. And that used to be what a lot of movies that weren't like the big blockbusters used to be about, or themes like that, which they've now thrown over to TV and have well written almost. I mean, everything that I've been watching in terms of television lately has just rocked, with the exception of that Star Wars thing and that we reviewed.
We got another one coming next week.
Oh.
Yay!
But
then you combine the fact that people are improving their home theater systems now. There's a lot of advantages to that, so people find it easier just to stay at home with a bunch of good stuff already available to us.
Do you agree, Bob, with this? Because
I agree with a lot of that. And I think really it's a combination of things. I don't think there's one particular answer to this. So the question though is, how do they fix it? Because if one thing's for sure, people will still flock to a movie that they want to see.
Yes.
Barbie and Oppenheimer, Top Gun,
absolutely.
Super Mario last year, Deadpool and Wolverine. It hasn't even come out yet, and it's already 8 to 9 million in pre-sales.
Yeah, I want to go see it.
Spider-Man No Way Home, and that was there during COVID, and they had just used the COVID excuse for Eternals a month earlier, and then Spider-Man blew that out of the water. So, I mean, I do think COVID played a role in it, but I don't think that it's keeping people from going to the theater anymore. I think it's kind of like what you said, Derek. It showed people that it's like, oh well, I can just enjoy the stuff at home. It's not. I don't think it's because they're afraid to go to the theater
awareness.
anymore. It was
awareness about certain things.
So
and nostalgia.
What are your ideas to fix it?
Good writing. Go ahead.
Why not take some of the stuff that we really had a blast with when we went to the movie theaters and re-release it as a start? Like, why not put Jurassic Park out there for fun, like the original one? Why not put Back to the Future out? Why not put name something? I mean, come on, let's that
Weird Science.
Okay, besides Josh, name some.
No, it's funny that you say that because look, they just re-released The Phantom Menace. They just re-released The Mummy. They, I think you mentioned Jurassic Park, but Jurassic Park I think just recently re-released too.
Oh,
good. But usually they tend to release them for only small engagements. Release it for 2 to 3 weeks, and and get it out there. Especially right now because of the writer's strike and the actor's strike. There's a lot of stuff that has kind of gotten held off anyway. Go ahead and throw these out there to get some stuff out there, and I guarantee you people would go see it because it'd be a nostalgic thing. Oh, I can see it on the big screen now.
Yep.
I never got to see it on the big screen when it first came out.
Which, by the way, that whole writer's strike and the actor's strike, that factors way into this too. That left a bad taste in people's mouths.
And it was the timing of it as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I saw an article not too long ago where they were saying how the actors, or not the actors, the writers were talking about how everything went in their favor, but there was a flip side to that. The flip side is now there's not as much work. Studios are realizing, now we need to cut back costs. Yep. And so they're not releasing as much projects or as many projects. So,
and if you cut back costs, chances are you cut back quality. That can be compromised too.
Yeah.
So it all factors into it. And I also, what could also work here is maybe if you took a really successful streaming show, like I'll use The Mandalorian. I mean, that seemed to be pretty well received for the most part, right? So why not take that and put do the whole season if you would, and then maybe put the season finale in the theater and then release that 2 weeks later on streaming.
That's not a bad idea. I like that idea.
And then that would bring people in. I think if you
another idea.
Go for it.
Sorry. What's coming out in October? Beetlejuice 2, right? Very curious how that does, because we're all excited. We want to go see it. Let's see if that brings some nostalgia and brings some money into the box office.
We'll see if it
passes October during football season, which You know me, boys. I'm like, you brought it out in October?
You know, one of
Also,
the big things I think that they need to do is I think they need to change how quickly they're bringing this stuff out to streaming. You remember when we were young, we had to wait like 9 months before it
Yeah,
came out
I
to
agree. Yeah.
VHS, 9 months or even a year before it would come out to VHS. So you wanted to see it in the theater because who knows when you were going to get to see it again. Now, like I said, Fall Guy released it at the beginning of the month, and I watched this on digital this past weekend.
That's the other thing too, is that they made it too easy to get it so immediate. It's like, well, I don't need to waste my time going to the theater. I'm going to watch it in 3 weeks anyway.
By the way, Joker 2 is also coming out in October, boys. So
we'll see how it does.
October is going to be interesting. Let's see how it does. Let's see how
it'll be interesting if they can repeat that success, because that was $1 billion movie.
Joker?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know.
The other thing that you could do is if you do the season finales and you bring in like the nostalgia movies,
good idea.
What you could do maybe is say we're willing to put a combo on it, and like if you come on Friday, you get the nostalgia movie. If you come on Saturday, we'll give it a discount, and then you can go see Beetlejuice 2 as a result. So package it up. That's a possibility.
And there was something else you mentioned, Derek. You talked about all the commercials and everything that they have. Part of the reason why they're doing that so much is because theaters are losing money, so they're having to market spots, or sell, time to different vendors and stuff like that in order to get additional funds. So they need to find something, but I do think that plays into it as well, because it's like, I got to go sit there through that. It's like, okay, it's already a 2.5 hour movie, and then there's 30 minutes of previews, and it's just. And then
too much other
travel time to and from the theater, and everything, and then the cost of everything. So I mean, it's a combination of things.
It's too much bother for the movie theater experience when you could just stay at home where you have a lot of convenience.
Which sucks, because I still love going.
Me too. Believe me, I would be thrilled if we got that movie that people were buzzing about again this summer. And if it happens to be Deadpool and Wolverine, Josh, we'll be as happy as we can be. I'm sure.
I really think the writing really bugs me. I really wish we had better writers and that they really thought it all out.
Yeah, that plays into this.
It's really, it was even funny, Derek, you don't know this, but I sent Bobby a video. So, the Obi-Wan show that came out a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, in fact, on Disney Plus.
Crap, mega crap.
Yeah. So somebody released the original script that one of the directors, they had one director who was supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And released the script. And it was the best writing. And it was great. And at first, Lucasfilm was like, oh, this could be interesting. And they threw it away and gave us the crap.
That.
And I'm like, why? Why? It had an arc. It told you it was going to be 3 movies. It made sense. It connected Obi-Wan with the original trilogy. I don't get it.
Because it's not about what you want. It's about what the studio wants.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's these.
Oh, you better believe it's that.
No, it's about what they want.
But also, writers come in and say, "I want to put my own stamp on it."
Well, that's the dance that they have to do together, right? With the
studios are very happy to let them do that as long as they do it the way they want them to do it. They're like, yeah, put your stamp on it, but it's got to include this, this, and this.
Yep. They have to meet the clauses first.
Better writing. I need the writing to be good. I don't know. Well, I'll be curious about Beetlejuice 2 because it's Tim Burton. Let's see if it'll connect with people.
All right.
We've given them some ideas, so hopefully whoever's listening out there, they're free. By the way, you don't have to worry about. I'm happy to give those away. Or I don't think the guys here are going to mind either because we want people to get back. We want to
go to the theaters.
Yes,
we want people to go.
Please go. All right. Ending on a positive there. Any other thoughts about this, gentlemen?
No, that's it.
We're good.
All right. Well, the rest of this episode is going to be geared toward what Henry Winkler calls good, because wrestling is good.
Wrestling is good.
Right, there he is. So strong. So that's what we're going to be talking.
He
about.
already knew it was coming. That's why he said it.
I didn't know that was. I didn't know you were going to hit the button with it, but you did. So good timing. First off, we're going to talk about a premium live event that happened this past weekend with WWE called King and Queen of the Ring. For the wrestling fans, you are familiar. For those not, it's basically a tournament between the men's roster, the women's roster, where you basically, if you win, you get a crown gimmick. And they put a deal on this where it was sweetened, where the winners would go on to advance to SummerSlam. So
except for the title, right?
Yes, for their respective brands and their titles. So that was the stipulation for this one, which is good because that put some stakes on it.
Yeah,
Which I liked.
Me as well. Absolutely, I'm for that. The King of the Ring has always been an interesting one. This event first debuted actually in 1993 because I remember it was what turned the WWEF Big Four into the Big Five. This is the one event that actually did that. So there's been some great ones over the years. Bret Hart is probably the most memorable because he was the first for us. And then his brother Owen, rest in peace, good sir, happened the year after that. Then rest in peace, how could we forget King Mabel? No disrespect.
Oh God. Oh God.
And then, of course, a year after that, the first thing you could do is get that piece of trash out of my ring.
Austin 316.
You know the one.
Yep.
Go ahead and thump your little babble, Jake. So that's a little history there. Any thoughts on the King of the Ring itself? Go ahead, Josh. Just kind of.
Oh, I still remember that first one with Bret Hart. God, who did Bret Hart beat in the finals? Derek Bam Bam.
Yep.
He beat Bam Bam, and then Jerry Lawler attacks him afterwards.
Oh God, he was the worst. He was so awful.
I think I saw the Owen Hart one once because you could never buy it. I think I ended up getting it on WWE Network when it was there. Just went back and watched it. Yeah. Oh God, there's nothing like King of the Ring. I mean, and this was even before, but when Macho Man was King of the Ring and Harley Race
that's
were
right,
King of the Ring and wore the crown and everything.
King Haku.
Always loved the tournament. Thought it was unique. Like this year that you can go for a title. Like that should mean something. Like you're the King of the Ring, you should be able to go for the title.
Stakes.
We also talk about, King of the Ring. Let's not forget Hell in the Cell, Mankind and Undertaker.
Oh Lord.
That was insane. And
still is.
Yeah, 98. And then wasn't there another King of the Ring where Michaels fought Austin and they beat up all the referees?
Yeah.
That I haven't seen. I have not seen
that was
that
90. That was 97.
Okay, that was 97. And then the one that I have not seen that I should see is Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon.
You should watch that.
Never saw that.
That gets completely out of control.
I bet. Bob, did you see that one?
No, I didn't see that one.
Okay.
You should both watch that.
So
because by the end, you're going to wonder how Shane McMahon's alive. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
I sometimes wonder how he's alive with a lot of the stuff he's done.
Yeah, exactly.
I got respect for that guy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Lord knows he's fearless. He does not care who he faces.
Somebody who's not a performer to pull off some of the stuff that he did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase. Who's not an everyday wrestler to get in there and hold his own with a lot of the big boys.
He was
doing it during the Attitude Era.
Yeah, he was.
And he was a referee before that and helped set up the ring back in the day.
Yeah, it's family business, man.
He really did well. What do you think, Bob, about before we get into this year's? Any memories?
Not any particular memories per se. What I just liked is King of the Ring was always used as a way to push the next big superstar or who they thought might be the next big superstar. And it was kind of a springboard to kind of give them the push to kind of see where they could go with it. And so I like the fact that this year they did add in that stipulation that you get a title match because I mean I could honestly see the winners actually winning out this year.
Yeah.
I could see both of them actually winning the title. So
it's good stuff. And this one actually happened, as we all know, in Saudi Arabia, in the Superdome in Jeddah. Jeddah. Riyadh. Yeah,
Jeddah.
Riyadh's the other one. It was estimated around 25 to 30,000 people approximately packed up the Superdome. It's unclear exactly how it did in terms of success from a profit standpoint, but it couldn't have done that bad because whenever they go over there, they make a ton of money.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this will be no different. So let's run through it. I'll give my thoughts at the end. Bob, why don't you talk about what you thought of it, what you liked?
I'll be honest, I didn't get to watch all of the matches because I was at work at the time, but I got into every single match. Just didn't get to finish them all because I get called away or something like that. But the one match I did get to finish the whole match was the main event. I did get to watch the full one there. And from what I've seen of all of the matches, I really, really liked the main event. Obviously, there was some controversy in the men's King of the Ring as far as the way that it ended. And I hear, and for the most part, it was a pretty good match. It just, I do know a lot of people weren't happy with the finish there and the way that it finished, and the fact that Randy Orton hasn't won a singles pay-per-view or he hadn't won a pay-per-view match since he's been back. I mean, not counting Survivor Series, when he won in War Games, but otherwise he hasn't won one since he's been back. And I'm not necessarily faulting Gunther for that, because obviously we all think that he's going to get a world title run. And so it's illogical that they would push him that way. I mean, that was the whole point of taking the Intercontinental title off of him, so he could turn around and have a world title run.
That's right.
But as far as the main event, we've talked about this before. Boy, Logan Paul can wrestle.
Yeah. God, can he wrestle?
And I knew he was going to have a great match with Cody. That main event was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Just watching him jump is in itself is amazing.
He's a great heel.
Air to spare. Oh yeah, he is.
He knows how to play the heel role.
Yeah, he does.
So for somebody with as little experiences he has to put his body on the line the way that he does, and to play the heel role, he's gotten so good with it. He's doing a great job. And obviously he was a good he was somebody good to put in the ring with Cody Rhodes. And I think that's why they did it, is because they knew he would give Cody a good match. He's a big name, and that's why they put him in the ring. It's because the Saudi audience is a lot different than an American audience. So, because I know we've talked about that before, Josh, and you weren't a big fan of the idea of Logan Paul getting a world title match. But, for the audience of where it was taking place, they like those big names in there, and Logan Paul fits that mold, and he put on a good match with Cody.
He did indeed. Josh, your thoughts?
First of all, about Logan Paul, I've told you both, I'm like, oh, why is he getting a title shot? But every time I watch this guy, guys, he can freaking wrestle. I'm like he gives it his all. Like, I can't hate the guy. He's like Bobby said, he's a great heel. The way
this is going to be Prime next week, by the way.
The way he does the moves, and just it was a great match. It really was. I just watched it the other day, and then when he hit Cody with the crossroads and did it perfectly.
All I know is that move sucks.
You can't beat anybody with that.
No, you can't beat anybody with that. Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the main event again in Mania. I gotta go back and watch it. It was so good. But yeah, that was good. My favorite match, I love the Orton Gunther match, but that ending, his shoulder was up. I know it's predetermined and all that stuff, but the guy, his shoulder was up. It's
not done yet.
Yeah, you think they'll have? Well, I guess at the next event, maybe. But yeah, poor
Randy
Orton.
Orton doesn't make mistakes like that. He did that for a reason.
Yeah, probably not. But poor Orton, God, he's just been like hasn't been in a singles
Oh,
match.
don't you worry about him. His day's coming.
I
You
know
think
you
so?
have some theories on that.
Oh, the one match that okay, so it was Saturday. You know, I get that they want to go to all over the country, you know, as Bobby told me the other day. He's like, Josh, probably since the merger with how do you say it?
Endeavor.
Thank
in
you.
Denver,
In Denver.
In Denver with the Broncos and the Avalanche and
Colorado doing.
Okay. Do you speak English? Because I can get a translator.
That's perfect. That is. I still want the other one though. I can't believe you get the bird You got
In
your
Denver
bird,
when they merged with
um,
WWE.
that they want to go to different countries, and I get that, but it's like that means for us, Derek and I, it starts at like 9 in the morning, 9 or 10 in the morning. So I had it on. I watched the beginning, like Becky Lynch and all that, and then I had the Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, Bronson Reed match. And I missed the one big spot, but the match itself I thought was great. Chad Gable giving Bronson Reed and Sami Zayn double German suplexes. And this is the guy that I was telling you guys, hello, who could have beaten Gunther and Derek. I almost called you Denver. Oh my God. So one of those weeks. And you said, nope, I don't see it with Chad Gable. Do you see it now?
Well, okay, I'll get into that in a minute.
Okay, but anyway, I would say it was a great pay-per-view. Had a feeling Nia Jax would win. Watch that match. I mean, that was kind of obvious. I don't think Bailey didn't wrestle, right?
No.
It was a very short pay-per-view, 2 hours and 50 minutes, by the way.
But you know what? So was the last one. So was Backlash. There was a small number of matches, and same here. Which reminds me, real quick, I did like the ending to the Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, because I like this whole thing with Dom.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
this is great storytelling.
And my time has come. He's here. I've been waiting.
I like Dom. I do. I really do.
So often it's great.
He's another guy who would have thought that Rey Mysterio's son would be such a heel, and he plays it.
I have a theory. Dominic is going to be the Bobby Heenan for women. If a woman ever needs to turn heel, just sit right over to Dominic.
That would be awesome. Oh my God, Bobby Heenan.
I heard that on Wrestling with Rosenberg. He was talking about that, and I'm like, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
If Dominic Mysterio just kept being the performer that he is, but he became like this great manager character for women. That's tremendous.
Did you see Michael Cole with the brass knucks the other day? And he's like, you lied to us. How dare you lie to us? You said you weren't using the brass knucks.
Well,
Liar!
See, Derek was just about to talk. You were just about to talk.
Shut up!
Thank you for all of that. All right. Now that Josh is
in your Diet Pepsi.
Josh, I told you sometimes there's a little delay. I've actually already hit the button during the space, but sometimes there's a little delay when it actually starts.
That wasn't a little delay. It was like a 10-minute delay.
Shut up!
I knew it was
that one went pretty quick.
There was no delay.
I hear our subscriber count getting lower every time you do that.
Nope, I hear it going big. We're getting back to the movie theater. Can't you hear them?
I'm sure, Mr. Double the Tip. God. Anything to spite me. Sure, you might be overdrawn if you give this tip. I don't care.
It's not worth it. All good. I'll go into debt. I'll go bankrupt. It's fine. My thoughts. I actually thought it was a good show. You know, the Saudi ones have always been a little odd with how they did them previously. I mean, some of them have just been like the
kind of like house shows, right?
Well,
right
it's
there,
like it's like the first couple were just kind of garbage. They just didn't work. They didn't make any sense. They just had people for the sake of being there. did these things like a 50-man Royal. Like, why? What do you need that for?
Oh, the debacle of Triple H and Kane and Taker and
Shawn Michaels, yeah, and all that. Oh Lord, that was bad news all around.
Have you seen them after that match? What Shawn Michaels just comes through the crowd. It's like, oh, that was horrible.
Yeah,
but that goes back to what I said. They want these big names, so they throw them all in there, and none of
throw them all in.
None of them really back it anymore.
Well, I had heard, Bob, when they first started this, they said, oh, we want Hulk Hogan, we want, Ric Flair, like you said, the big names. And one of the Saudi prince or someone said, can you please bring the Ultimate Warrior? And they're like, he's dead.
I mean, I guess we could, but I don't think you're going to get much of a match out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, coffins were used for matches, but I don't think not in that way.
I don't know. That match seemed pretty dead. I don't know.
So what was your favorite match, Derek?
Gunther and Orton, I think, was my favorite.
Yeah, great match.
And what you love about that match is because people wanted to see that match bad before it even started. Yeah. People were amped to watch that. Because that felt like a Mania match, honestly. You could have had that in Mania and everybody would have been fine with it. But it was also it was great. I mean, there were no flips or fancy moves, but they didn't need them. They just worked to like a very physical style that they both can work. And it was grueling. It felt like it was punishing. It was very, very good.
Do you know what that match reminded me of, Derek?
And
you will appreciate this, and I think you'll agree with me. Stan Hansen versus Big Van Vader. Just the stiff.
It was. I mean, on that level,
like hitting and, like you said, no flips, no dives.
No,
just except that one big splash from Gunther where he slipped off the top rope.
Yeah. Okay. Not the greatest.
I'm like, why would you go to that?
Well, he does. Gunther can go to the top, but you want that rare. You don't want him doing that too much.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I would hate to take a chop from Gunther. That seems like it.
Even with the open palm, like they do it in slow mo now. It used to be when we were kids, we thought, they were coming in with the knife edge, but honestly, they would come in at the last minute like that. Mm-hmm. With Gunther now, they just pause it and they're like, boo, and he just
throws his palm into it.
You're like, oh my god! Like everybody said, like Orton's face was like, ow.
Well, go back and watch Dom take chops from Gunther.
Yeah. You want to go back and watch Dom? If people really hate Dominic Mysterio all that match, go back and watch a match with him and Gunther. You'll get every bit of your money's worth.
Who did Gunther chop in NXT? Where the guy he hit him so hard he did a flip.
I know Dom did that quite a bit.
Yeah, he did.
This was
it Ilya? Was it Ilya Dragunov?
No, for some reason I kept wanting to say it was Adam Cole.
Maybe Pete Dunne. That might have been.
It wasn't Pete Dunne. No, it was definitely not Pete Dunne. I don't know who it was.
But anyway, I will say that was probably my favorite match. I think that you are going to get the rematch at the Castle with those two.
Okay.
And the SummerSlam main event will be on the line. Gunther's king, that's fine. But for the main event of SummerSlam, that's where that will be the stakes. And then I think Gunther goes on to win the briefcase after that. I think he takes all the hardware while Randy Orton gets the title shot at SummerSlam because Money in the Bank is right after that.
Wait a minute. So you're saying I'm totally confused now. You said Gunther is going to beat Randy Orton at Clash of the Castle, right?
Yes, in Denver.
So then he goes to SummerSlam in Cleveland against
Orton would go against Cody at SummerSlam. But before that, Money in the Bank happens, which is where Gunther wins the briefcase.
What he's saying, Josh, is that Orton beats Gunther in the rematch, gets the championship title spot, but Gunther will remain king.
Got it. Okay.
And then go on to win the briefcase. Yes.
That's what his theory is.
Isn't Cody facing The Rock at SummerSlam?
No, doesn't look like it. Looks like that may be going to Mania.
Okay, I thought we had Rock and Reigns at Mania next year.
We don't know what we got.
We don't know what we have right now.
Okay.
Besides,
All right.
the only person who's talked to Reigns this whole time is Solo.
That's right. All day,
Yeah.
every day.
Oh,
Solo,
God.
Solo, a
Solo.
moment of your time, please, please.
May I have your attention, Mr. Solo?
You always gotta. Okay, enough. Anyway,
Shut up.
go ahead, Bob.
No, I don't need to get that. He did it himself.
Oh, that's good. Good.
Anyway, what I also did I did like the Dominic interference. I like how Liv won. That was actually, I mean, there were really no bad matches on the whole card if you really look at it. It was all really good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
So then, between that and the Queen of the Ring final, that girl Lyra Valkyria, she's pretty awesome, and
She was good. That was a good match.
And even more awesome for taking that finish from Nia.
Oh, that was sick.
Oh, good lord!
She squashed her.
Yeah, I mean that was probably like one of the more fun parts about the King and the Queen of the Ring was that in the King of the Ring you're like, oh, Corey Graves is like, wait, hold on, that looked like the shoulder was up. With Nia, there wasn't a question.
Yeah, no, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and the emotion that Nia had afterwards was pretty real, and that was a nice thing to see with her and Hunter. But what I loved about it was the way she snapped right back into it and was like, Kayla, shut up. I know none of you are happy for me, and that's fine because I'm happy for me.
Why didn't Gunther wear the crown, by the way?
Too big for his head?
Maybe. I don't know. I'd wear it.
Well, if you're a heel, you would think you would, but I guess you just didn't want to. Maybe thought it was too silly. I'm not
it was
sure.
very nice looking.
He's an interesting heel. He's a little different than a lot of them out there. So,
Bob, is he neutral in your opinion at all? Do you think he eventually gets?
I almost think it depends on who he's facing, because like most of the time, I mean, I think he's a heel, but
yes,
if you were to put him in a match against the Judgment Day,
who do you think they're going to cheer?
Yeah,
I think you're Gunther. So
yeah, I agree.
And he kind of has problems with the Judgment Day. So that's why I say he's kind of a different heel.
He's a dominating heel. He's one where
it's a little different. So
you got to be careful with how you position him. That's why I want Gunther to win the Money in the Bank briefcase, because then he's got a whole bunch. He's got 2 options with world titles. He's not going to go backwards, but can you imagine him cashing in on Cody if Cody beats Rock? That's a heel move.
Yeah. Can I say one thing that's a little not off subject? But what happened last night, real quick, about Jordan Grace on NXT, TNA, and I really hope that they, now send them over to TNA. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I think there's some good partnerships happening.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah, it would be good for business. I think overall, I don't think WWE looks at TNA.
And what I like about that is you see that when WWE wants to do a partnership like that, you see them working with a legitimate business, so I like that,
I bet
they work with a real wrestling company. So it's appreciated.
They just think another one is a threat. So that's why they won't work with them.
Right. There's such a threat, which is a great segue into our next topic. And speaking of which, there's such a threat. I think Ethan Page thought that might have been a little bit different for him. So
ooh, that's right. I forgot about it. That's They did not use him right. They did not use him right.
This is a great segue, as mentioned. So that moves on to our final topic of the evening, folks. Somebody also debuted over the Memorial Day weekend. He's better than you, and you know it. MJF did return this past week at
What kind of stupid name is that?
Was that for MJF or Double or Nothing? Which name was it? Both.
Oh my god, that was perfect timing.
Yes, he did return. He ran into the ring and kicked Adam Cole in the nether regions and held the devil mask, and then proceeded to cut a promo like only Maxwell Jacob Freeman can.
Gave him a brain buster. Don't deny our fans. Come on. kicked him and gave him a low blow and then gave him a brain buster.
How many AEW fans do we have on here, Josh? Besides you?
Don't give me that weird.
How many fans did you say were at the pay-per-view for King of the Ring?
That was approximated around 25 to 30,000
in Europe?
Yeah,
no, in Saudi Arabia.
Or Saudi Arabia.
Oh, by the way, if you were curious about that one, though, Josh, it was almost.
Yeah, Josh, that was in Western Europe there. Yeah. Close to Denver.
Did you flunk geography?
Yes. No, not really.
And how many AEW fans were at the pay-per-view for Double or Nothing?
32,000?
No, close to 6,900.
That's an interesting number, Derek, that you just came up with that. 6,900.
I texted it to you in the group thread. Okay.
F.
Well, it's not my fault if you don't remember.
Oh,
Anyway,
God. All right.
right.
Let's
So
talk
that
about
gets us-
MJF, the savior
Right.
for AEW.
Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, Bob, your thoughts on this. Then we'll let Josh have his moment.
All right. So as far as MJF goes, I do like MJF. Josh will tell you that I do like MJF.
He does.
So I think having him back is a good thing. Now, as far as whether it'll help AEW, it's hard for me to say because I'll be honest, it has been a long time since I watched a full episode of Dynamite.
So you have no frame of reference here, Donnie. You're like a child who wanders into the middle of a movie.
So, but part of that is because for a while there, I actually saw them as a legitimate competitor, and just over the course of time, I just got more and more disheartened and disappointed in their storylines. I do think that they have some talent with their wrestlers. They've got some. The wrestling itself, I think, is decent for pretty much for most of the shows.
How many drinks are you getting, Derek? Good God.
I'm on none of your business, by the
My
way.
God, poor Bob was trying to tell the story, and you got your back going to the fridge.
I was listening to him.
We have
fine.
a chicken back there, too.
I'm talking to our audience, Josh.
Yeah.
My God, go get your drink.
So
You know, at some point, if you really want to be a mom in your life, Josh, you should have found that as a career path. They love moms in Denver.
which is in Europe.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we make that into a T-shirt?
So
Look at Derek's face in disgust.
so yeah, I just finally stopped watching. I didn't think that it was that good. I did kind of pick it back up a little bit with the MJF Adam Cole storyline because I thought that
Which
was
you
pretty
love.
interesting.
You love that one.
And then unfortunately both got hurt, and that really derailed it a little bit. And so now MJF's back. The question is, can it help? And I don't think it hurts AEW. I do think it's a good thing that he is back. Now, whether it helps their overall product, I think they need to actually fix some of the storytelling. I actually mentioned this to Josh. I actually think they need to go to a more scripted format. And I think that would help them out a lot. You know, we just found out that Adam Copeland, Edge himself, is hurt and he's going to be out for a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're winning another one of their stars. So, you know, they've had some bad luck go their way, but to fix the storytelling, I do think they need to get into a more scripted format. So,
Yeah. Good points. Okay, Josh, take your moment.
Well, as you all know, I am a diehard AEW fan. I've always been for the underdog. I have followed, this company since even before it was a company, with a lot of these guys in Ring of Honor and in New Japan. I'll say this, you guys have a point on a lot of stuff, with the script, even with, their pay-per-views are excellent. I have gotten their pay-per-views. They are run very well.
Oh, so you're the one.
Huh?
Oh, so you're the one.
The one, yeah. Much better than, Mr. WWE sympathizer over there. Doesn't watch anything else.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Josh. You've never been more right.
Yeah, exactly. Shut up! There. Okay, so we got that out of the... Here we go. No? He's going to wait for me to talk.
would you make your point already?
Okay, sorry.
Get on with it.
Anyway, no, but having... Oh my god. Having MJF come back, I think they needed it. I wish he didn't get injured, and I wish Adam Cole, and him didn't get injured. I heard the other day that the reason they did that was kind of to move that rivalry aside right now because of Adam Cole. So I don't know. And again, I didn't watch yet tonight because we were out, so I don't know if MJF was on. I don't know what kind of feud he might go on. I know Swerve Strickland in the media scrum the other night after Double or Nothing, when they asked about MJF, he's like, "Oh, well, yeah, but he's been out. He needs to move to the back of the line." So, maybe they're starting something there. I'm not sure.
Real quick, is Adam Cole actually cleared?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't even know where he is on his rehabilitation. Like, he came out the other night, and to me, he seemed better. So I don't know, but he's not cleared yet. I don't know how long it's going to be. But I think, will this help AEW? Yeah, I think they definitely need him. Also, a little on the side note, which really shocked me, and I had forgotten about this guy. They let go of Jake Hager today.
I saw that.
And I was just like, oh my God, Jake Hager was in AEW. I mean, this guy had talent. And they didn't push him. Somebody said the other day, Jim Ross said, who's an employee of AEW, said, the issue is we're not pushing new guys. We're not creating new stars.
Well,
And
that's one of many issues, but yes, that is an issue.
He says we have not created a new star and push that person.
That's certainly that's certainly a worthwhile note. It's a good point.
So I don't know who you would bring in, or who you could, who you would use from another company, or I don't know.
We see there's a problem right there. You just said they need to push new stars, and your first thought is, well, who are they going to bring in from another company? So it's like,
unless they, get somebody from the independents. I mean, somebody who we don't know about.
That's not what they do. They turn around and they bring in all these established guys from.
They have a big enough roster.
Bring in all the guys that WWE doesn't want anymore.
I mean, I'll name, and Derek will understand these names. There were a couple guys that I used to see in the independents. I'm like, why weren't they pushed? Private Party, Derek. They were so big in the independents. Do you remember them?
Yeah, I remember them.
And then they went there, and it's just they're not used properly. So yes, I am criticizing AEW a little bit.
It's about time.
But I still, I'm afraid. I was a diehard WCW fan, and when it went under, we had a monopoly with McMahon and WWE.
Yeah,
and that's why I do everything in my power to support AEW, because I don't want them to go away. I don't think they will, but I don't want them to go away. I don't think you guys do either.
Let me know when it's my turn to talk, and then I'll speak exactly to that point.
Go ahead. Your turn. I'm done.
Okay. So I will give AEW that. You want them to stick around because you need competition. When Jade Cargill went to WWE, a huge part of why that was so big was because she was at AEW first. The same reason Cody's return was so big. It's because he created AEW. That level of competition is what makes things big and great. Now, does it relate as big like when Edge went to AEW? I don't think it hit as hard, but it was a big deal still, because that was a major star going there. So you want that level of competition in order for this kind of magnitude to hit, for both sides. Competition's a good thing. And I'll also give AEW this. They definitely do a great job keeping their fan base alive, so much to a point where you do think that anything is possible there. I will give them that. Which, in terms of creating a new star, shouldn't be all that hard, because they have a roster that's very, very big and comprehensive. And to finally just get the machine behind them, the fans would also get behind that.
Right.
So the fact that they haven't pushed that star yet over there is a little bit perplexing to me. That's back to Jim Ross's point. Now, there's a lot of other issues here, but to answer the question about MJF, I look at MJF the same way I look at a sports player. I'll give you an example. Okay, so LeBron stays on the Lakers, but let's say many, many other players go away. Does that help the Lakers? Ultimately?
No.
No. But if LeBron left, would it hurt the Lakers? Probably would, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Point being, one guy can't save everything. Never has been like that and can't happen in this case too. And that's not MJF's fault. That's just overall. One person cannot save everything.
Michael Jordan?
That he also had Scottie Pippen. I'm sorry, there was a lot that made that work. Phil Jackson made that work. There were other pieces to that. But yes, he was the star.
Okay.
So, point being, no, not one guy can be the save all and all be all. Remember in WCW back when it was god awful, Josh?
Yeah, oh yeah. We were watching.
Rob's favorite, Hulk Hogan, was there. Could he turn that around?
Oh no, not at the
No.
end. He was part of the
That's it.
problem.
Uh-huh. So, yes, I think that AEW Survival is good for the wrestling business, and I want to see it succeed. And they do put on great matches. I'll give them that. But there is much more happening with this company from a business perspective where things are in a very, very serious spot of rethinking and redoing.
Did you see that recent interview with Tony Khan? The one they had on ESPN?
No, I did hear about it, but I didn't see it.
Where he mentioned about Weinstein?
No. I got a clip from it.
Please, Pittsburgh. Nothing to see here, please.
That's exactly right.
Oh my God.
Because right now, thank you, Frank.
I can't see Liam Neeson playing Frank Drebin.
It's great.
Going to be weird though. Like,
dude, I sent you that clip of him say, let's do some improvisational comedy.
Yes, I remember.
And then I love it because he's like, you're a hypochondriac, and he's a doctor. Excellent.
The scene when he's in the room with Norberg's wife and he's saying all that horrible stuff.
Yeah. That's the way to go. Yeah. I want to be ripped apart.
Ripped apart in the ocean. That's the way I want to go.
I love that. And she's like, oh, Frank, who could have done this?
And all three of them are fantastic. Not one of them's bad.
I love those movies.
Oh, they're so good.
So good.
So,
but you see, that's actually perfect that we're talking about that because AEW is a spoof of wrestling. So, I mean,
no, Bobby.
Because here's AEW's
Bobby wants
business.
them to fail.
No, I don't want him to fail,
Yeah,
Josh, because at the end of the day, like you said, competition is good. Because think about it. The best times that we had in wrestling, and everybody will say it, were the Monday Night Wars.
Yes.
That was the best time in wrestling.
I would be on the phone all the time, Bob.
Because that's what spawned the Attitude Era. When you had the NWO on top of its game, and you had the Attitude Era running, those were some of the best times that we ever had on wrestling. You could record one, watch the other, and then you would go and watch the other right afterwards. It was wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny because Bob, you and I will talk about like a movie, and I'll always ask you like, well, what would you do differently? With the movie and stuff, how would you change it? Derek, you and I talk about wrestling. Mm-hmm. And what do I say? What does wrestling need right now? Because you can't like bring back an NWO type of thing, right?
No, you can't. It won't work. No. There's a reason why it worked the way that it did. You had you had Scott Hall, Kevin Nash coming in, and it was perceived that these were WWF guys coming in to take over. And you had Hulk Hogan turn heel, the ultimate good guy who was quintessential WWF. Because here's the thing, when he went over to WCW, a part of the reason he was getting boos were not just that the gimmick was getting stale, even though that was part of it, but a big part of it also was because WCW fans are very different than WWF fans were. Yep. And they always saw, Hulk Hogan as a WWF guy.
Right.
And so there's a reason why that worked, because you had three guys that were perceived as WWF trying to take over WCW. That's why it worked. And because it worked so well, that spawned WWF to have to respond with the Attitude Era. And I would love to see something like that.
Would
What's
it
that?
work now with the internet? Because remember, this was
Good
1996.
point. Yeah, very
Internet
good.
was just starting out. What would have happened if this happened now? So if all these guys were, obviously Scott Hall would be alive, and they just upped it. Would it have worked, or would Meltzer have said,
well,
"Oh,
'cause-
the plan for tonight is Hogan's turning heel"?
But you see, part of the problem, it's not just them reporting as to what's going to happen. They're reporting on contracts also before they happen as well.
Yeah,
So they're
that's true.
like for months they were saying, "Oh, Sasha Banks is trying to sign a contract with AEW."
Right.
So it wasn't a shock when she finally showed up. Where at the time it was a shock when Scott Hall showed up on WCW, and a week later it was a shock that Kevin Nash showed up.
Right.
So it worked, and again, you partnered them up with the ultimate good guy who turned heel and who was quintessential WWF. I mean, that's why it worked, because you had 3 WWF guys.
Right. You know where it could have worked in AEW, and I've told both of you this: the huge fight with CM Punk and the Elite.
It could have worked if they had played it right.
If they had played it right and could have gotten them in a match and everything in a little feud, I think we could have gotten something there.
But that's where all sides, especially the Elite, were being babies.
Yeah.
I think we're all babies.
Well, no, I mean,
I point out all the Elite just because Josh, I know how much
loves the
he loves
Elite.
CM Punk.
Well, I have my own thoughts about CM Punk, which I won't get into.
Yeah,
right now.
Derek's not a fan, Bob. You're not.
No,
gonna
I know
get
he's not. But
his
even
heart.
Derek will agree with me that he's a draw.
He is.
At the end of the day, look, he sold out the arena for his return when he came to AEW, just on the rumor that he might be there.
That's true.
Nothing was confirmed.
Right, but nothing after that, though. He never sold it. He was on the first Collision, and they didn't do great.
But
I don't think you
Collision,
realize that.
but Collision has also happened much later. By then, AEW had already squandered their opportunity, because when Punk first showed up, remember I told you, okay, right now they just became a legitimate contender, and they blew that, because at the time the WWE was telling bad stories.
Yep.
Fast forward to the Collision time, and WWE was already beginning to improve.
A big part of this too, and I'm sorry, Josh, but the reason that AEW took off like it did is because a lot of the fans were getting sick of WWE and the bad stuff they were producing. So they were looking for anything that was an alternative. And once things got better,
you loved AEW then.
I loved a lot of things about it because they were looking like a contender. But then, yeah. And so now their business model is as such. They have pay-per-views, which are the one thing that they can really truly count on right now.
Right.
Because
I think they have too many, by the way.
Okay. Thank you for announcing that. Anyway.
You're welcome.
But they go from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, and they just drag in between with zero format on television, nothing that really can keep an audience held to it. And so that is now their model, which is why I keep saying, and it's fine if you're into this. I'm not saying people can't be into AEW, but be not mistaken, it is now a niche product with a niche audience and zero format. And that's what it is. And if you still want to watch it, that's great. But do not consider it near a contender right now with WWE. They are as far.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
That's what I want. I don't need your permission. I don't need you to tell me what to do.
He's getting that. Don't watch it.
Yeah, see, look how offensive he's getting right now.
No one wants you to watch it. Nobody wants
you to want us to watch it. No problem, Josh.
I don't need you guys to watch it. I could care less what.
Yeah, you might not need us, but they need us to watch it. They need everybody to watch it that they can.
Believe me. They're too busy watching Was It Good instead. They want to watch that.
Because it was good.
There you go.
How about that? Boy, way to strike hard. Do you want to wipe to get that sand out of your you-know-what?
I know. He turns around and tries to compare. Well, they're watching really good. I've got a YouTube channel. How can you compare that to a full-fledged channel or a show on DND and DBS?
Derek, are you okay? You still look like you're being held hostage. It worries me.
Stop deflecting. Stop. That's enough.
Here we go. Here goes Bobby.
Admit
There he
there's
goes.
problems.
Look at the
Admit there's
knucklehead
issues.
over there.
Stop.
Trying to change something.
Stop
Come on. Go for it, Bob.
Stop it.
Come on.
Stop
You know you
it.
want to, Bob. So
Stop.
bad. You know you want to say it. Just tell me to stop it.
Yes, I'm going to tell you to stop it. That's what you deserve.
This is ridiculous. This is insane. I give up.
I give up.
Pretty cute. How old are you, kid? 11? 12?
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Mr. Funny Man.
I think the consensus is that
no, I get why you're passionate about it because you want it to succeed.
Yeah,
and
I
the
don't want
thing
it
is,
to fail.
believe it or not, we do want it to succeed too, but we want it to get better. And the problem is, I don't see where they're making any changes to make that happen.
WCW
that's all.
should not have failed. I'm still like should WCW fail, Derek? Like really? With
Whether
There-
it should have or not is
whether
irrelevant.
it should have or not, it's too late. We can't really go back.
no, but I don't think AEW. Again, who knows? I don't know. I don't think they'll fail.
Well, it can if they don't start getting their numbers up on television because it doesn't matter all the
No,
money
because
that Tony Khan
TNT
puts
seems to be
into it.
fine. TNT seems to be fine with their numbers.
Well, okay, they have respectable numbers, but they Warner Brothers, TNT, or whoever it is, just threw an offer down,
Yeah.
and it's nowhere close to what Tony Khan wanted.
Yeah.
Nowhere close at all. Did you hear how much they lost on the video game? Remember that? There was a video game.
I know. I have it.
You're the one.
I have it.
So,
I'll tell you
know
more
how-
stuff later, Derek.
do you know how much they lost on that?
Huh.
Estimates are around 10 million.
Wow.
Woo.
Okay? You can't bleed money like that. You just can't.
No, at some
And
point,
No.
I know that the Khans have a boatload of it. I'm not saying they don't. I mean, we can't say this about Vince McMahon now, I don't think, but even at his richest, Nick Khan was richer. Still is. So they have a boatload of money, but you can't keep bleeding it out like that either. It's just not – he's not going to keep up with that. He's not going to tolerate it.
But it's
So
funny, you heard Booker T last night Vic Joseph said AE and almost W, and
Yes.
Booker T said no.
well, when
Did you
Booker
hear
tells
about
you when Booker tells you not to do something, you better listen because he doesn't seem like a guy you mess
I
with.
don't know.
no,
I still think there is some sort, and you guys can disagree with me all you want. I still think that WWE feels there is some sort of threat with the Khan family.
I don't think they see it as a threat at all.
I think
think
they do.
I think
don't
maybe-
think they'll admit it.
Maybe at one point that was the case. I don't think they see it now.
I don't know. Then why
Let me
not?
just-
Okay, so let me ask you this. Why not do a forbidden door with WWE and AEW? Just like they're doing with TNA. Why can't that happen then?
Because they work
they
with
don't
legitimate
consider-
companies.
TNA is yeah. Okay. Bobby, you go away. Derek and I need to have this conversation.
Well, first of all, there's
Because
also
everything's a
a
joke
number
to
of
Bob,
things.
so.
There's also a number of things that go into that too, because now you've got TV people to deal with.
Right.
Can you have a star on another show, and that kind of cross promotion isn't always easy to do.
It's never been done though, ever.
There's reasons for that, and a lot of it has to do with legality.
It comes, yeah. There's a lot
I don't
because
agree.
you're talking about like AEW. It's still a promotion on TBS and what else. So you got TV contracts. You got there's money involved there, and regardless of how much I joke about it, you mentioned in one of our other shows, Tony Khan. He's got a lot of money. He puts a lot of money behind it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it's not so simple to just turn around and do it. Would I like to see it happen? Yeah, I think that it would actually be pretty interesting.
I think it could happen now more with Hunter running things than Vince.
But here's the thing: how do you script that? Because that's ultimately what it comes down to. Like with the TNA people, wrestlers coming on, they ain't gonna win. They already know they're not gonna win. It's almost like, if I could compare it to anything, it's like when one of the small colleges turns around and goes and plays these big boys. They do it for the check. They know they're going to get walloped, but they turn around and they do it anyway because they know they're going to get the money out of making that game happen. It's like when the hometown team here turns around and goes and plays against the University of Texas or something like that. They know they're going to get whipped, but they turn around and do it anyway because they're going to get the money out of it. So but TNA is like that. It's the small fish, and they're going to go and they'll collect the check. It's beneficial to them. It gets their stars on TV, and it works out for WWE because they can bring somebody who actually does have some notoriety over. AEW is another thing because Tony Khan's got all the money behind it, and we agree they do have a lot of talent. So how do you script it? Who's going to be winning these matches?
Yeah, because then that's where a lot of ego is going to come into play too. Well, my guy's not going to lose.
That's right.
Dusty finish, a dusty finish. That's what they'll do.
Well, but
dusty finish is basically a double count out or double disqualification, or
try telling that to Cody and see how far it gets.
Yeah,
we'll see.
That's not. Cody's going over. No dusty finish there.
That's right.
All right. Well, interesting.
Well, we'll see how it all works out. Like I said, we are rooting for him. We hope that there's going to be competition kept alive here. And like we said, we like MJF, so all the best to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So glad to see him back. It sounded like that injury he had was not awesome. So I'm glad he's back to full strength. And with that, I think we've had ourselves an episode, gents.
Yep.
So if I may close on some homework I did do. Remember how we had a topic last week about finding out with heroes and villains and whether they were, friends in that? I actually looked up and I found 3 examples in Marvel. Would you guys be curious about taking a guess, or you just want me to lay it on you?
Okay, I can guess one of them.
Okay.
Spider-Man and Harry Osborn.
That was one. That is correct.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You said Marvel. There was another one that came to my mind.
One's really obscure, so even I was just like, what? I don't know if I buy it, but
no. Go ahead and give me the others that you got.
Okay, the second was Reed Richards and Dr. Doom.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because they talk about Dr. Doom, and they mention the fact that he never insults Reed Richards. He actually always talks to him like he's an equal. Okay. Like he's the only close thing to a friend that he has. He'll rip on everybody else and call him futile or whatever. He won't do it with him. So that's an interesting dynamic. And third, which I should have thought about this one, it's not just friends, it's family. Thor and Loki.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
So what was the obscure one? The one with Dr.
That
Doom?
was Reed Richards and Dr. Doom.
Okay.
Like I didn't think they were friends at all, but as it turns out, it sounds like through the comic.
Okay.
All right.
So that was my homework. I did it.
Good info.
Yep. And I'm sure there's more examples. Folks, if you do find some, please, again, after you like and subscribe, feel free to put it in the comments. So with that, let's do some social media. Bob, where can we find you?
You can find me over my channel, Was It Good, on YouTube. Over easiest way to find me is just type in Bob Loves Movies, just like one word, and you'll see my logo there with the popcorn and everything. So
very good. Josh, yourself?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I'm a realtor here in Southern California. I'm under the Family Man of the Valley. You can also find me on LinkedIn and TikTok.
Very good. I'll be one of the old guys waiting for my 3rd generation superstar son to induct me into the Hall of Fame with all the other old people. And that will be on Facebook and LinkedIn.
All right.
It's so creative. It's almost like attention.
Yep. Thank you very much. And with that, you folks have a good evening. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.